Hello, and welcome to the CCA Library Media Center iPad Resources demonstration. Just know that everything I'm going to go over is going to be on the Mission Possible website. It's going to be under Level 3 Mission, and the library apps are in Mission 305. So don't worry if you miss a dot or something on the URL or a username or password. You always have access to it on the web, Mission Possible, and it's Level 3, Mission 305. We're going to start by opening the folder that's already been created for you called Library Apps. And the first app we're going to look at is the Destiny Quest app, and that's the big white Q. Remember, Destiny Quest is the app for our CCA library resources, what we own both print and digitally. The first time you set up the app, you're going to need to put in the URL just once, destiny.ccaeagles.org, no W's, and press connect. You're going to have a choice once you connect whether you're in elementary school or secondary school. I'm going to use elementary school for this demonstration. And just know that you can go back and switch schools by on the bottom where it says log in to a different server. You can always switch schools if you have a child who's in a different school. You can use the app for both schools, and that's how you would switch. Your user ID would be the same as your login name. Most of your passwords were preset for you as your initials, but some of you good Destiny users have reset your password, and that's fine. If you have any trouble logging in, you can always see the library staff, and we can reset your username or password. Once you log into the app, the first thing you're going to see is the top 10 books. That means the most popular books in the last 30 days, and they're listed there 1 through 10. And for elementary school, you can see Moonlight on the Magic Flute is the #1 book right now. Next to top 10, the little bird tells you the new arrivals. If you tap New Arrivals, it's going to show you the top 15 books that have been added. These are the last 15 books that have been added to the collection, so you can always see what's new. Next to that, you have resource lists. This is a great resource for teachers and students. Teachers, did you know you can make a public resource list for your students? Maybe you have some recommended reading for them. You can always make a public list and name it and tell them to check Destiny for the books I've recommended. Library staff also make some list public, sometimes for students. You can see the Crown Awards there when we have our recommended books for the year. Or that very first list, that ACSI, of course, is for teachers. If you have that philosophy paper to write this summer, you can check that resource list and see which books we have and come check them out to write your paper. On the bottom, you see My List and My Bookshelf. That's where you can create your own list of books to read or to recommend or for your students, different subjects. And lastly, you see Account. When you tap the account, you can see your personal information, what you have on hold, what you have checked out. Hopefully there's no fines listed there, but it'll also give you your checkout history. You have all different access to information there. You do see the logout button in the upper right, so yes, you can use it with multiple students, or your own student, your own child can log in, so you have the option to log out there. And that is Destiny Quest in a nutshell. The next thing we're going to look at is the Follett Digital Reader app. And again, you'll have to set this app up the first time you use it. One thing to remember is that every type of ebook has its own digital reader. So if these are for the ebooks that CCA owns through Destiny, it will tell you if it's a Follett ebook, and then you know that you use the Follett Digital Reader. I preloaded it with the elementary code. There is a secondary code as well because it's 2 separate collections, and you have to tell it which one to talk to. Your username is going to be the same as Destiny, and again you'll have to log in, and then it should remember you after that. Sometimes that self-correct can mess you up, so if it ever autocorrects and it wants to change it, you can just click that little X in the corner and it will not autocorrect you. Alright, here yours will come up empty because you have not checked out any ebooks yet. My online ebook shows what I have checked out already, and if I'd like to get some more books, I can click in the top right. It says check out more books, and that's going to take me to the web. It's always going to take me out to Safari if I want to see new books. Remember, I'm in the elementary collection. It might ask me to log in one more time. Does it remember me? Good. This is the elementary collection. It shows you everything we have right now is 72 books. You can scroll through and see some of the different titles. Sometimes you don't see some of the book covers load. That's because we don't have the rights to the illustrator's artwork. Ebook rights are usually about the same as a print book. So if you have one copy of an ebook and it's checked out, it's not available for anybody else to use. So I always encourage the students to return them as soon as they finish reading them and don't keep them checked out. They will zap back automatically after 2 weeks, but I'll show you how you can return them early. This gives me a little information when I click on the book. This is the birthday ball. Tells me maybe the AR level, a little bit about it. And then I can decide, do I want to check it out? I can always read it online. If I click open, it's going to open it in the browser and I can just read it while I'm here. But if I want to check it out, that means I want to download it to my iPad or to my tablet. And that means that I want to take it with me. I want to have access to it when I'm not on the web. So it tells me, oh, I checked it out. This is reminding me that I can use the Follett Digital Reader app, which I already have. So I can go back to the app and I should see the birthday ball, and there it is. So now it is in my app automatically. I can download it so I have it with me and it will open up in the Follett Digital Reader app. And when it's opening, you can see some of the different functions of the app. Open Sesame. There we go. At the bottom you'll see the 1, and that means I just want to see 1 page at a time, or I can see it 2 pages at a time. And you'll see it's just like you're holding the book. You can zoom in, you have the magnifying glass there to zoom in or out. And then in the upper right hand corner you see the little backpack, and if you touch on it, that's where it's going to give you that choice. Do you want to keep this book? Are you still reading it? Or would you like to return it early so someone else can read it? And I'm going to return it early because I don't want to keep it off the shelf for somebody else. And then it will go back into the collection. So that's just a little bit about the Follett Digital Reader app. The next thing I'm going to show you is the Access My Library School. That's My School Edition. That's the little green one on the bottom. This is by the Gale Reference Library. It's for secondary students. So if you're a secondary teacher or if you have a student of your own in the secondary school, this will be good for you. You have to set it up the first time by going to Florida, and then you'll scroll through and find Fort Lauderdale. As with all these apps, usually you set them up one time and then you're good to go. Next we're going to go to Fort Lauderdale. And there you see Calvary Christian Academy. You can view the Gale resources. You're going to have to update the first time in the upper left, and you'll see it spin. This is my favorite thing. You do have to put your password in, Eagles, 1 time, and then it animates the lock. All right, password accepted, and now I can update my resources, and you can see that it's spinning right now. It's going to load over 200 e-reference books that we own on all different types of subjects. We only have ebooks. We don't have any of the Gale databases, so you always want to go to Gale ebook. And there, if you're used to iBooks, it populates pretty much the same way. You can scroll through, push through, you can see the different books. If you'd like to filter it in the top right, it says Subject Filter. If you just want to look and see what do we have on history, once you touch history, you have to touch the shelf again for it to filter. So once you touch the shelf again, it will filter just with the history books. And then you touch on it, it will tell you a little bit about it. If you want to continue, it will open up in the Gale Reader. It says we're looking at the Encyclopedia of U.S. History, and there it tells you table of contents and so forth. Great resource for secondary students. So that's the Gale Access My Library School Edition. And remember, those virtual library books are also searchable through Destiny. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is actually in the elementary apps folder, although all the way through 8th grade teachers can use AR because we are using the STAR testing with the middle school students as well. Now I'm going to touch on settings in the upper left hand corner because yours will load the very first time and you will need to add either this code or there's a long URL, and I'll have it for you, remember, on Mission 305. But right now you can put in CCA 36NR, and that should connect you to Calvary Christian Academy. I'm going to log in as my daughter. Just a reminder that this is just a student app. Teachers, you cannot log in here to do your reports. You just have to go to Safari. Once you're on Safari, you can use that same URL and you have access to all your reports. But this is a student app only, and you can see quizzing on the bottom. They can check their scores, they can check their progress. So this, and also a reminder, if you ever have problems and it won't log in or it's not working correctly, check your network and make sure you're on a private network, either CCA PVT or the staff network, because if you ever get kicked off to guest, it will not let the children log in. It has to be a private network. So that's just something to remember about AR. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is Discovery Education. And I'm going to go actually to Safari because Discovery Education does not have an app. Discovery Channel has an app, but not Discovery Education. So once you've made your own username and password for Discovery Education, you can go to mobile.discoveryeducation.com, and then you're going to see this interface. It's just a lot easier to search than on the web. So it kind of works like an app. You can see the different subjects at the bottom. And I'm going to show you how to make a shortcut for any web page. If you have web pages you find you're using all the time on Safari and you'd like a shortcut on your home page, you can do this with any website. Up at your address bar to the left, you see that little arrow pointing to the right. If you touch that, you have choices. And the choice we're going to look at is Add to Home Screen. It's in the second row. It's going to pre-populate with whatever website you're on. It will have its own little icon where you can see the little discovery, the little D in the world populated. All I have to do is touch that, and then you can change it. You can modify it. If I just wanted to say Discovery, I'm going to take out the EDU, and I'm going to say yes, I like it just to be called Discovery. And look at that. Once you hit enter, it automatically pops up on your home screen. So now it's just a shortcut. If I touch it, it takes me back to that website automatically. So you can do that with any website you find on Safari. And if you do not have a username and password for Discovery, that information is also in Mission 305. You can set up your own. You need the school passcode to do that. And then last but not least, I want to show you the BrainPop apps. There are actually 3 separate BrainPop apps. I'm in the elementary apps folder again. And just a reminder, BrainPop Junior is K through 3, pre-K to 3. The regular BrainPop would be grades 4 and up. And just a reminder, you do get free data every day. You get free movies every day. But don't forget to log in. If you don't log in, you won't get the full content. You'll only get the free stuff. Remember, we love CCA as our username. Our password is Eagles. And then we know we're getting all the content that we pay for. And then the third app is BrainPop Español. So if you teach Spanish, just know that you do have access to BrainPop Español as well. And that is, or are, the Library Media Center iPad resources. Again, they can be accessed on Mission Possible, Level 3, Mission 305.